Okay, today we're going to demonstrate viewing point data in the TICE reports. And we like to do viewing data in TICE reports because it's a lot easier to see the data in a report than it is to just look at it in input view. So to start off, we access the TICE reports by clicking on the Reports button in the toolbar, which is right here, and it looks like a piece of paper with some writing on it. So I'm going to click on that. So this is the screen that opens up when you click on the Report button, and this shows all the reports that are available in TICE. And you'll see on the left side of the screen, it's organized by your categories. So you have point sources, non-point sources, non-road sources. If you scroll down, you'll see you have on-road and your event sources. We want to look at the point sources report. And the one I'm particularly interested in is the facility emissions report. And the reason I say that is because it doesn't have a graph associated with it, and you can tell that by looking at the little icon that looks like a pie chart. And I only want to look at one facility emissions for this, and we don't need a graph because we're not going to compare anything. So I'm going to click on the facility emissions report, and that opens the first screen to start specifying filters. And filters is kind of like a query if you're familiar with database terms. And that just tells TICE what you want to include in your report. So the first filter is what county you want to have your report take into consideration. And the TICE opens up with all the counties shown. And in this example, we just want to look at one county. And to uncheck all, we click on this box that looks like two blank boxes on top of each other. And that takes off all of them. And then we're just going to select Coconino County. So I click on Coconino County box right here. And then I click on the next button to specify the next filter. And the next filter shows the different facilities that are located in Coconino County. And I'm going to continue on with the previous example. I want to look at the EPNG Williams Compressor Station facility. So again, I'm going to click uncheck all, and then I'm going to click on that facility. And then click on the next button again. And the next filter is the reporting period filter. And there's only one selection here, and that's the annual. And that means that the emissions were for the entire year instead of just a period in the year. And that's usually what you're going to see for most of the facilities. There's also, on the bottom, you can see that it says report emissions in tons. And if you click on the little drop-down arrow here, you can see that there's different units you can specify for your data. Most of the times you want to keep it on tons, but if you were looking at HAPs, you might want to only HAPs. You might want to do pounds instead, because HAPs emissions are typically smaller than criteria pollutant emissions. So I'm going to just leave it on tons for now and click on the next button. And you'll see that brings up the next filter, which is the pollutants you want to include in your report. And for this example, I'm going to include all pollutants, and you'll see that none of them are selected. So to include all the pollutants, you're going to click on the box that has two check marks on top of each other, and that's going to select all of them. Then I click the next button again. And this is the last filter button. And what this one does is it has some defaults, some different things you want to specify for your report, like decimal places, stuff like that in there. And most times you just want to leave the default, and that's what we're going to do for this example. And then click on the Finish button, and that's going to bring us up the report. So this shows the report that comes up that you specified all the criteria for. And oftentimes it comes up really small on your screen, if you want to make it bigger, you go to the top and there's a choose zoom level. And you can choose whatever zoom you want. I'm going to choose 75% to make this a little bit bigger. And now we can see a little bit better. And if we scroll over to the right, we can see that NOx emissions at this particular facility are the highest. And it gives us the emissions in tons, and it also gives us the percent of emissions. So this facility emits over 1,000 tons of NOx, and it emits 77% of the total emissions is NOx at that facility. So that shows you how to look at the reports for point sources, and you'll see that you have many options for the different reports, and I encourage you to try all these options because they all have something different to offer.